No one cares until they know how much you care. And once you care about your team and they understand this company can give life to many and it could be a roadmap to success for multiple people, then they can see the vision and then they want it as well. And then they run it. They're the rocket fuel behind the company.
Welcome to the Millionaire Maker Show, a podcast helping entrepreneurs scale their businesses online to create more time, more money, more freedom, and more impact. Now, with over 20 years of business building, coaching, and consulting experience, here's your host, author, speaker, and creator of the Millionaire Maker Funnel, Lindsay Anderson.
Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of the Millionaire Maker Show. I am your host, Lindsay Anderson, and this week I have a very special guest, Miss Tiffany Rosenbaum. Now, Tiffany is a highly successful entrepreneur and she runs multiple successful businesses. Her main specialty is how to create a high performing team. She has certainly done that in her business. And today on the podcast, she is sharing with us all of her insights around how she builds this team, how she nurtures that team, and how she sets her team up for success. I know from personal experience, I could not be doing all of the things I'm able to do without my team. And being a leader of that team and showing up as a leader and understanding that these aren't just people that work for you, but if you create a culture in your business of supporting your team members, they will in turn support you. And when everybody is reaching their goals, it is a win-win-win situation. Team is critical when it comes to scaling your business, and Tiffany's here to share all of those insights today. But before we get started, I want to make sure that you go and get signed up for my upcoming workshop called The Unlaunch Method. The Unlaunch Method workshop is my exact system on how to attract right fit clients on social media and make more sales. This workshop is perfect for you if you are an expert or a coach or a consultant or an agent or a professional service provider who is selling high ticket products and services on social media. You need a lead generation strategy. You've tried all the other lead gen. You're sick of paying for Facebook ads. They're way too risky. The outbound calls are working, but you really need social media to be working for you so you know how to post like a business owner and not an influencer and actually get results. How to actually build an online community of people that will know, like, and trust you and buy your high ticket services. If that sounds like you do not want to miss my upcoming workshop. Over the course of several days, I will share with you my exact system that has helped me and my clients sell millions of dollars worth of services all through social media. All you need to do is head over to theunlaunchmethod.com, put in your name and email, time block on the calendar to join me for this powerful workshop and leave with a system, really understanding how to generate a high quality audience on social media. What do you post? How often do you post it? How do you get those people off of social media and actually buying your services? I'll share all with you at the Unlaunch Method workshop. All you need to do is head over to theunlaunchmethod.com and get signed up. So let's hop into our interview with Miss Tiffany Rosenbaum. Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Millionaire Maker Show. I'm so excited for today's guest, Miss Tiffany Rosenbaum. She is a multi-talented entrepreneur. She runs a construction company and a real estate company. She is super successful in all areas of business, and I'm so excited to talk to her on today's show. Welcome to the show, Tiffany. So glad to have you on.
Lindsay, thank you for having me on. I'm very excited to be on the show. I watch it. I think it is something that a lot of people need in their life.
Tell us, before we dive into all the business stuff, Tiffany, what's something that's unique about you?
Oh, when I was in college, something unique about me, my husband and I decided to move and start up a company. And being naive, we thought it would go fantastic. We were like, oh, yeah, we'll be entrepreneurs. Everything will go right. Well, it was 2009 and the market had crashed. And so I ended up in Arizona with my husband. We knew we were supposed to move here. and no food in the fridge, no heat in my home. It was 45 degrees, and I had a baby I couldn't feed. I started knocking doors and found a mentor that helped me start analyzing real estate, and then decided that he would loan to me as long as I could pay it back, or he was going to take everything I had, which was nothing. And so we started getting into the real estate aspect of that. But I think what's unique to me is I ended up on food stores, and not many people know that story, but everybody has a story and everybody has a background that they had to go through something, struggle to get to where they're at. And so that's what I would say.
And tell me if this resonates with you. The cycle of life, all of these obstacles that seem to be getting your way are really the precipice for all the greatness to come. And so we can really view it that way. It can kind of help get through the harder times. Is that the case for you?
Yes, Barbara Cochran says it best. I love what she says. It's not a matter of you're going to hit down. It's a matter of how fast you get back up and keep going and learn from that experience. When I couldn't provide for my kids, it was hard. It's like there was many tears. Like it was like the worst thing is when you can't provide for yourself, it's one thing. But when you're having children, small children that are wanting you to provide for them and you can't, it's like another defeating thing. But I wouldn't take back that experience. That experience has brought me. What's funny is I just posted this on social media that it's all about the struggle to get us to where we need to be and who we need to be. Without that struggle, we can't develop. We can't become who we need to become. We have to have it. It's a pencil. If I handed you a pencil that was not sharpened, you grab that pencil. If I asked you, hey, write down a goal, you'd be like, I can't. It's not sharpened. Just like a pencil, we have to go through a sharpening time to develop, to be able to be used at our greatest potential.
I agree. So I know that you run several businesses. Can you run through those for our audience? Like you gave me this list and you are, like I said, multifaceted entrepreneur. What are they, Tiffany?
Okay, so our first business that we started up was Rosenbaum Realty Group. It's an asset management company that helps people buy real estate. We manage it and we send them a check every month. I also have a maintenance slash construction company because we needed that to be able to take care of the maintenance on these properties. And then I developed a short term slash midterm rental business. Same thing, asset management for individuals that want to build generational wealth. And then I also am in the fitness industry and I own a gym. And then I also do a coaching firm for people to build teams. But all this is not possible without the team behind it. Like there's a face to the company, but guess what? There's a team that does everything. And that's what, you have to build.
So, yeah, I know that you really pride yourself on being able, I know you're very passionate about running a team. Tell us more about that. So, let's talk about team and how to find those key team members. Like, what's your secret here, Tiffany?
Well, I'd say I made every mistake in the book when I first started. I was not good at it. I was like, you just hire someone, you put them in the seat, and they can understand your vision, even if you don't tell them right. But then I learned that there was actually a science behind it. And there's a lot more to this than just finding one person. I don't know if you know, there's a lot of tests out there, but there's a disc profile test. It's DISC. And so for any individual that I bring into my team, I have them run that test and I put it against a benchmark of who I need in the position, like a property manager or an asset manager or operational manager. And then I go and then the other test that I have them run is their belief system, their drivers, what drives them. Because to have a team that can drive the same vision that you have, you got to understand what drives them. So I wholeheartedly believe in business. If you're a CEO, you got to take the feeling out of the decision making. But when you're dealing with your people, you have to bring the feeling back in to deal with them to make sure they're developing and they're leveling up. And a true leader levels them up. And that's what building a team is all about, is finding the key players, by the science behind it, and then helping and develop them and see what they truly want. And
I
that's
love
how I've built
I
my
love
team.
that. How many people are on your team right now?
Right now, we're at about 40.
40. You're managing 40 people. You have them run the disc assessment. You are leading them and you're putting people, like you understand what drives them and understand that's really what's making your business grow. So it sounds like you had a before and after. Before it was like, I hire based on my gut. Tell me, was there a pivotal moment for you, Tiffany, where you were like, oh, this cannot be, like there has got to be another way. Can you share that moment with us?
Oh, yes. It was my worst hire. I've had a lot of bad hires, to be honest. But early on in the company, I had a CFO level accounting individual, but he was helping a lot of companies. So that's the only reason why I could afford him. And one day he came up to me, he said, I got to give you my 2-week notice. And I was like, please no. And he was like, I have a company that has offered me $250,000. And I was a baby in business. So there was no way for me to pay him that. And I was like, I have 2 weeks to find someone, train someone, and get them in the seat. And I said the famous words you should never, ever say. I said, I just need a butt in the seat.
Yeah.
And,
Oh no.
oh, it was bad. And I interviewed a lot of people, but no one was great. And I walked into my husband's office one day because we're partners. I said, we just need someone. Whatever we can do, we need someone. So we were looking through the resumes. I said, hey, this individual, I mean, they have accounting experience. How bad could it be? So I called them out and I said, hey, we're thinking about offering you the job. When could you start? They said, tomorrow. And I'm like, sure, come on in. The
Perfect.
first thing you can do is if someone's available, that also means how much talent do they actually have? And so we brought him into the business. I had not been running disc profiles. I haven't been doing anything. It was all about, I just need someone. And as soon as that individual came into my office, my culture went out the door and I
Oh,
became a revolving door and people quitting and hiring. And so I was just spending money left and right to hire people. And it took me a while, but I had one of my other team members call me because our P&L was going bad. Like things were happening that I was like, I was auditing, I was trying to find it. I was like, what's going on? And I had one of my team members call me and say, hey, get in the office. And I was like, either it's quitting or something's on fire because everything's going to crap right now. And so I walked in the office and she handed me this stack of paper. And I looked through it. It was all the proof I needed to fire this individual. So I called the accountant up and I said, hey, you're fired. Don't come back. And that was the best day and the worst day because guess what? I went back to hiring, but then I went through it at a whole different purpose and said, okay, we really need to find the good people that match our core values, match our mission statement, have the disc profile, and then also see our vision. And so it's a pyramid of things you have to have when you hire someone. It can't just be a butt in the seat, like I said. And so we go through a science and then our core values they have to match and our mission statement and they have to believe in that.
wow. I'm really inspired. I'm really inspired by what you say because I have found the same thing. And team is everything. Like you have subpar people, the company is subpar, and it's way too competitive out there to go subpar on this thing. You will fail.
Will. So
Okay, so
like you said, a lot of CEOs are, you probably see this all the time. You're a coach. You'll see people that are in their company, they're sole entrepreneurs. The problem is they won't buy back their time. Well, the company can't grow unless the leader understands how to delegate and empower their people so the company can grow. A business is a living, breathing organism. It should give life to many, not just one.
well, I like that. Give life to many and not just one. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. So I know that you're running all these real estate companies and your gym. You also have a coaching component. Do you actually help people build their teams?
Yeah, I do. I go into the science behind it, especially young entrepreneurs. I deal with the property management industry a lot because usually when a property management company starts, the person wanted to help people invest in real estate, but they don't understand how to be the leader and to delegate and to run numbers and to manage off of KPIs instead of micromanaging the individual and not empowering their team. And so I go in and we discuss this and then we give them a roadmap to success of hiring a team so they can get out of the day to day and actually run a business and give life to the organism instead of strangling the organism and not give life to anybody, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it sure does. And so you do that through consulting or coaching? Do you have a program or a course or mostly just one on one?
One on one mostly, and then I'll go into the teams and we'll go through it. But
And
yes.
you'll go through that. Okay. So tell me, Tiffany, what are some common obstacles that people have when hiring a team? And how do we
Oh,
overcome
mindset. That is the number one.
mindset?
It's mindset. I can do it better. They're never going to care as much as I do. They are always going to make mistakes. The things that I hear, I'm like, why do people feel like no one will care about their business like they will? And you're probably right. People aren't going to care exactly as much as you do, but no one cares until they know how much you care. And once you care about your team and they understand this company can give life to many and it could be a roadmap to success for multiple people, then they can see the vision and then they want it as well. And then they run it. They're the rocket fuel behind the company. That's how I see it. And so the biggest issue I always see is mindset.
Well, yeah, I mean, everything's about yourself. It's not about the other people. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, right? And mindset always starts with the mindset. It always starts from there.
Yeah, yeah, which also includes like taking it seriously, like no just butts and seats, but like what's the process? And to your point, yes, they may not care as much as you do, but everybody does want to be part of something and part of a vision and work towards something. And so if you can build a culture of that, then you can really feed off of this energy that they're giving you, the caring that you're looking for.
And that's what I say. It starts from leader down, right?
Does.
That's what leaders and owners of businesses have to realize. It all starts from leader down. So we have to look inward as leaders and business owners and go, hmm, what do I have to change to empower my team, to motivate my team, to show them that they're not on this journey alone? I'm here with them. How do we change that? So we always have to look inward. And that's something that I talk to my team about all the time. You have to look inwards. In businesses, if it's a rough culture, a lot of times they will point fingers. Oh, it's their fault. The problem is you can't change someone else. You can only change yourself. So, what could I have done different to make that process better? What could I have done different to make that outcome better? How could have I served the team more? How could I have served the client more or the customer? If we look inward, we can change. If we look outward and point fingers, you're not changing anything.
Yeah, and also like taking on the mantle of leader in your business instead of you're here to like work for me and you serve me. But no, we need to be showing up as the leader and showing that like you develop it like you said, top down. It is not about bossing people around and getting them to work for you. It is about trying to bring a whole bunch of people together and inspire and lead by example.
And people want to feel, you said it earlier, and it was perfect. People want to feel like they're a part of something.
Yeah.
They want to feel like they're part of a community. And a company can do that. And the best way to lead and guide is to empower them through KPIs, numbers. Hey, these are our metrics we need to hit. Here are your numbers on a daily basis. How can we get better? And how can we? So, like, we always sit down, we have level up meetings with the whole company. We're like, hey, bring the problems, let's talk about them, bring the resolutions with them. You know, empower the team because they have great ideas. Like today, I had someone come in and go, hey, you know what? I was thinking about, I used to work at a car dealership. This is how they ran. What if we change this small process over here? It probably run 30% better. I'm like, hey, let's go through the operations of that and let's see what we can do.
Yeah, it's
So,
all about the team. Now, you mentioned this level up meeting. Do you mind just walking through a couple of things? So, obviously, you have operations for how you hire people. You have these level up meetings. Tell us how often those are, and like anything else that are like these cornerstone processes that will make sure that your team runs cohesively. Can you share with us?
yeah. So, one major thing I say before the level up meeting is one on ones. One on ones are huge. Each of my PMs have people underneath them. They have one on ones with their people. I have one on ones with my higher management team, each individual separately, so they can open up. We can discuss issues. And this is weekly. And it's with mine, it's 10, 10, 10. 10 minutes. They get to talk about whatever they want. Next 10 minutes, I tell them how I appreciate them. Third 10 minutes, we talk about KPIs. Where are the numbers? How can we improve? Now, only on mine, I leave an extra 30 minutes at the end just in case someone comes in with a family issue or something where we can discuss it and they don't feel like I'm cutting them off. So each manager meets with their people and I meet with my managers on a weekly basis. Every other week, we do a level up meeting. It brings in all the managers, everybody that has decision making over people, and then they will level it down to their people. We sit in the conference room and then we have people remote. We have them on a TV and they come in and we talk about certain issues in the company. So they'll come with a problem and then they have to come with a solution at times and then we'll roundtable it. Hey, what's going on here? We had an issue with this client. What could we have done differently? How can we better this process? And so the team, and I don't run these because what I realize is if the owner is running it, sounds like the owner's, it's the owner.
Yeah.
So each team member, each manager runs it a week and they get to hone in on it and lead the team and be the leader. So it's been really interesting when we switched that. It's been intricate to the business.
Yeah, we run ours the same way, and I also don't run the meetings. I also like it because I don't have to run another meeting as well. And I like to watch people do their work.
Great ideas. They have phenomenal
Great
ideas.
ideas. They are in the trenches. They know they have perspectives you will never dream of. And so you have to support these guys into helping you. You don't know everything. That's the other thing about being a leader is like, I am an open book. Please tell me what you think because more perspective, the better decisions I can make being the head of the spear over here.
We don't know everything. We're not in
No.
the trenches on a day-to-day basis. So we don't see where the process might be broken, but they can bring a broken process to us saying, hey, you know what? I do this on a daily basis. If we switch this one thing, we could level it up. We could make it faster. We could do it better here. And like you said, they have phenomenal ideas.
So just being that leader that doesn't know everything, that you're just leading by example. Leading by example.
I
Okay.
love it.
Tell me, so when it comes in terms of team, what are some things that we can do daily to support a more cohesive team? You got any tips that we can implement daily?
I think it is incredibly important to allow feedback on a daily basis. So many times companies have this, they're like managers only give feedback to the people below them. Well, that's not how it should be. It should be anybody in the company should be able to give feedback to managers. Managers should be able to give feedback to the owner. That way, it's everybody is able to give feedback, and you have to regulate it a little bit. This isn't a gripe session. What it is constructive criticism, and we name it that way. And we also do it two different ways. We do anonymous feedback, and then we do with name feedback. That way, we can see if there's people that might not feel comfortable to actually give feedback. So we want to develop this culture where anybody can give feedback, and that's important in companies.
Yeah. So how do you do that? Is that like through a form or like through managers or how do you handle that?
So one-on-ones is crucial, but we also
Okay.
have our operations manager does a form, two different forms. One's anonymous, one's non-anonymous. And they do that monthly to make sure we're getting the feedback we need. And each manager receives the feedback. And so they have to go through it and make a action plan of how can we get better as managers? Because if we're not getting feedback from our team, how do we know if we're managing them how they want to be managed?
Like essentially, as a leader and an owner of a company, your customer are your team members. And so if you're not getting that, hey, how am I doing as a leader here and open for feedback, then you're just not going to be able to improve. And then you're not going to have a great team.
It's
Yeah,
all feedback,
feedback.
right?
It's
No.
all out as the leader of the company. You just got to sit back and listen, basically, and get your defenses down so you can get as much perspective as possible and make these decisions and act in the right way, in the most productive way.
We're all trying to improve, and no entrepreneur has a roadmap to success. They're learning day by day how to get better, and they fall, they get back up, they fall again, they get back up. It's how fast they get back up to continue and to get the feedback to get better.
What do you see, Tiffany, as the future of this? Like we have had COVID and people are like spread all over the place. They used to be all in the same office. Like I feel like the whole culture of like coming into an office and people and stuff is like all messed up right now. What do you see as the future of teams and running effective teams?
I think it's global. I think a effective team is global. Like we hire all over the world. We do have an office here in Gilbert, Arizona, which is our hub, but we're actually expanding to other states. And so we use Zoom on a daily basis for our meetings and to make sure we stay connected. We keep that culture. I think the most important thing is that a leader decides what kind of atmosphere they want, what kind of culture they want. Do they want people in office or not? And they have to develop that culture where people come to that. Like people are okay with that, and they have to realize the roadblocks you're going to get on either side. Because I do think there's a double edged sword on whichever way you go. If you're remote or you're in office, I don't think there's any perfect system. But what you have to do is take the system and develop it where people feel like they belong to something.
What are some resources? Like, do you have favorite books or you mentioned the disc profile when it comes to team? Can you just rattle off a couple that came to mind?
Yeah, so disc profile, I love. I'm a huge fan of Audibles. One of my favorite books is I do love Grant Cardone's books. I just do like them. One of the ones I'm reading right now is Jeff Bezos. He's really good. I love Amazon. If you haven't read Walmart's book and Amazon's book, those are one of my favorites because they tie together. When Amazon came into the market, they went over and poached Walmart's executives. So
Yeah.
it's interesting to read their books. Another one that I love are the 38 letters from JD Rockefeller. So I read a lot of books, but what I would say to back that up is if you're going to read a book, implement something from it. I mean, if it's supposed to be a helpful book, don't just read to read. Sometimes people just read to check off. What is the book doing for you? What is the purpose? Is it for fun? Do it for fun. But if it's for business or something, implement something from it.
I love it. You know what I love about the books that you recommended? It is like, these are the major companies. You are learning from obviously the best people, and that's where you're spending your time reading your book. And you're like, it applies to me. Yes, I'm reading this. That's what I love about your book list. So thanks for sharing.
Oh, thank you. What's your favorite book? Because I'm always into new books.
Well, I mean, I read them all. Like, Atomic Habits, I read them all. Although, I'm going to actually check out that Amazon book. I have not. I hadn't heard that Amazon poached all of Walmart's execs, which, way to
Yeah.
go, Amazon. Way to go
Yeah.
on that.
They did a bunch of them. And as soon as I read that, I was like, oh, that's kind of brilliant, actually.
Yeah, like go and get, yeah, people who've already done this before. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Training time. All of a sudden,
yeah.
you don't have to train them. You just have to train them on your processes instead of training them on how to be an exec.
All right, Tiffany, what is one thing? This is my final question for you today. What is one thing you wish you would have known before you got started with your 5 companies and multiple of successes? What's one thing?
I wish I would have known how important the team was. I did not understand that until years into the game. Once I made that shift and I understood it was all about the team, things took off. But I
I
wish
love
I would
that.
have understood that at the beginning.
Well, Tiffany, it has been a true pleasure. Thank you for sharing all of your knowledge and your insights around team building. I'm going to turn the time back over to you. Let us know how to find you and anything else you want the audience to know.
Thank you, Lindsay, for letting me be on today. The best way to find me, all my social media is Tiffany M. Rosenbaum across the board. That's the best way to find me right now. Or my podcast, The Road Less Traveled.
Thank you, Tiffany. Appreciate you being on the show.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Millionaire Maker Show. So great to have everybody listening today. A big thank you to Tiffany for sharing her wisdom all about team building. Now, as a reminder, make sure you head out to theunlaunchmethod.com and get signed up for my upcoming workshop. If you like the strategies that I share with you and you want to know how to implement these into your business so you can use social media as a way to attract high quality leads and how to get those leads to buy your services, make sure you head over to theunlaunchmethod.com. Join me for this workshop. I don't hold back. I share absolutely everything. Theunlaunchmethod.com. Now, a big thank you to everybody who continues to listen to this podcast. Please go and leave us a review wherever you're hearing this podcast. It's the reviews and the feedback that allow us to keep bringing this podcast to you week after week, delivering you the real truth, the hardcore strategies about what it takes to make more sales. Thank you for joining me for the podcast, and cheers to you and your success.
Thank you for listening to the Millionaire Maker Show with online business consultant and creator of the Millionaire Maker Funnel, Lindsay Anderson. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Until next time.